Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host, Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a good day. And above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to another episode of Album Spotlight. Now, the band I'm going to be talking about today, I spoke about them, I featured them on the channel, sorry, about a year ago around Halloween. And I haven't spoken about them since. That band is Siouxsie and the Banshees, and the album in the spotlight today is Hyaena. Now, a couple of days ago, I aired a album ranking on The Cure, and in reading up on The Cure and the fact that Robert Smith, lead singer, main songwriter, guitarist, producer of The Cure, was in fact a member of Siouxsie and the Banshees at two different points in 1979 and around 1982, 83. And he was a member of both bands full time. I thought I would dive into Hyaena because Hyaena is the only album to feature work by Robert Smith. So, Hyaena has an interesting history. First of all, it's the band's sixth release. It's their first release for their new U.S. label at the time. Sorry, Geffen Records. And Geffen would go on to reissue their previous five albums from the Scream onward. And yeah, a very interesting history. Again, produced by Siouxsie and the Banshees and Mike Hedges, has a playing time of 44 minutes and 15 seconds, recorded from June of 83 to March of 84 and released on June 8th, 1984 through Polydor in the UK and Geffen in the US. Upon release, it would reach number 15 in the UK charts and number 157 in the US charts. Now, in terms of its style of music, it pretty much continues the goth rock moniker that the Banshees have had uh, made for themselves or gained for themselves, listed as post-punk, neo psychedelic, and art pop. That does fit it really well. There were two singles released from the album, those singles being Dazzle and Swimming Horse. Now, playing on the album for Hyaena, you have Siouxsie Sioux on lead vocals, uh, Steve Severin on electric bass and keyboards, Budgie, a longtime member, on drums and percussion and marimba, and Robert Smith, yes, the Robert Smith, on guitars and keyboards. Now, the UK version of the album has nine tracks on it. The US version, when it was released through Geffen, had 10. Geffen had decided to include their cover of Dear Prudence from the Beatles. Dear Prudence was released as a standalone single in the UK and in Europe, and it did reach number three in the UK charts upon release. And it's interesting to note that Dear Prudence is Siouxsie and the Banshees' first entry into the Billboard charts. So I'm going to go through the album with you. Fantastic album. It really is. Starts off with the track Dazzle. And it in my notes I have your beautiful strings. Dazzle starts off with a beautiful symphonic section. The track picks up at a minute and 17 seconds with a fast tempo. Has a in my to my ear has a backdrop of guitar and synth textures, haunting vocals from Siouxsie Sioux. She has an ability, Siouxsie Sioux, to deliver a vocal that is really, again, haunting, ethereal, but also very full of emotion, in my very humble opinion. And the track Dazzle ends off with the same string arrangement, along with some fading vocals from Siouxsie on the end of the track. Fantastic. We Hunger is next. Um, and in my notes, I have a very percussive track, a very prominent bass, and it's a very guitar-driven track. All of these songs on this album are very stark. I guess they have like a dark tone to them, but they are also very guitar-driven overall. Track three is a track called "Take Me Back." In my notes, I have here percussive, very sparse use of drums, and nice use of organ on this track from Robert Smith. And what I hear is organ. It is organ patches on the track. Just beautifully done. Track four is a beautiful piece called Belladonna, which means beautiful woman in Italian, written by Steve Severin. In my notes, I have your prominent bass, textured synths, and great melody. And it's done in a 6/8 time signature. I was trying to figure it out in terms of the drumming and the arrangement, but I Googled it. It's done in 6/8 time signature and done really well. Swimming Horses is the next track, the second single from the album. I believe, no, I believe the first single from the album. My apologies. Um, Very piano driven, and again, beautifully haunting vocals from Siouxsie Sioux. Side two begins with the track "Bring Me the Head of the Preacher Man." Again, another track written by Steve Severin. Um, Beautifully done. In my notes have here, has spaghetti western guitar twang on it, on the rhythm guitar. You can't miss it. Very prominent. And the track to me is very slow. It has a slow burn to it. It starts off very slowly before it gets going. Very guitar driven, and again, more haunting vocals. That is the one theme from this album that I got from like that I get from Siouxsie and the Banshees overall is that their vocals are very ethereal and haunting at the same time. Um, Up next is a track called Running Town. Fast tempo track, nice drumming on this piece. Nice use of twinning of melody, line between the guitar and the piano. Strong vocal delivery from Siouxsie Sioux on this track. Really prominent piano on this track, and there's a good breakdown section on this piece. Fantastic. The one track that to me is a bit of a miss is called Pointing Bone, and another Steve Severin track. Um, it's a short track, 3 minutes and 49 seconds, has an ominous feel to it. Again, another guitar driven piece. A lot of layers of synths on this. And in my notes, I have here low recorded level. To me, it sounds like I don't know whether they mixed it very low, but it sounds like the song is being recorded in the next room, and it's sort of filtering through the door for the mics to pick up. I don't know why they did this, but it doesn't sound like a really strong track production wise. So to me, it's the weakest track on the album. The UK version of the album ends in I believe the US too, ends off with Blow the House Down. Longest track on the album, 7 minutes in total. Um, Strong drums on the track, slow tempo. The tempo does pick up, and when it does, you hear Arabic influenced instrumentation on the track. It's very percussive. Once the instrumentation picks up the Arabic influenced instrumentation, the track does move along better, quicker. There's a really heavy use of bass on this track. Now, on the 2009 expanded version, there are four tracks. On the US version of the original release on the album, Dear Prudence was the ending of side one. But on the 2009 reissue, it is track number 10. Again, beautiful vocals on this track from Siouxsie Sioux. Great guitar. Obviously, it's a different arrangement from the original. The band did a version of Helter Skelter on their debut album. I will never listen to that track because I can't stand the track. Um, Obviously, for me, it's the Charles Manson connection to it, but I can't stand it. But it is included. Dear Prudence is the one track that I guess they could all agree on. All except Robert Smith and the band were a fan of the White Album, but Robert Smith really wasn't. So they did this track. It's a beautiful track, very haunting version of it, but beautifully done. The other bonus tracks on the album for the 2009 reissue are Dazzle, a 12-inch glamour mix, and two additional instrumentals, Baby Piano Part 1 and Part 2. Baby Piano Part 1 is like a minute and 54 seconds. And what it is just some piano chords are being worked out in the studio to work on a song that they're going to be doing. And beyond Baby Piano Part 2 is pretty much the symphonic um, background that is done on the track Dazzle, clocking in at like something like 4 minutes and change. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. But you can tell from the melody that it is from Dazzle, the lead off track. So there you have it, guys. Siouxsie and the Banshees, Hyaena. If you know of the album, please let me know what you think of the album down below, down in the comments. Now, as I said, I'm going to be diving into more of Siouxsie and the Banshees albums. You know, the albums like Tinderbox and The Promise. Um, I do like her stuff. I do like her stuff. I do find that she has a bit of a haunting quality about her vocal delivery. So that's what I do like about it, you know. Um, and it's unfortunate that, Robert Smith left the band shortly after the album was done and the tour was done. Uh, he did give them 2 weeks notice, which he thought was ample time. At the time, the band were at a frenetic pace in terms of their touring and releasing albums. And the only one that had an issue with him leaving, Robert Smith leaving, was Siouxsie Sioux. She feels that he couldn't deal with being in both The Cure and Siouxsie and the Banshees at the same time. And you know what? I got to admit it, I would agree with Robert Smith if that is the reason. Think about it. You're in two bands at the same time, right? You are responsible for at least one of them as the lead singer, producer, main songwriter, or one of the main songwriters. Each band deserve an equal amount of your time. And if you can't give an equal amount of time to one of the bands, why not just make it easier for yourself and just go with one band? So, and there was a point where he did think about disbanding The Cure because he thought that they weren't getting along very well. And there was a story of the head of his Robert Smith's record company, Fiction Records, that he was trying to lure him back to The Cure while he was writing and recording with the Banshees. And apparently there was a message that Robert Smith sent to this guy and said, "I'll break your legs if you keep doing this." So he backed off. Right. Anyways, that is the album spotlight on Siouxsie the Banshees, Hyaena. Please again put down in the comments if you know of this album and what you think of Hyaena. I do like it. I do feel I have to be in a certain mood to listen to it, as with most of The Cure's albums. But I do like the album, and I will be diving into more of Siouxsie and the Banshees and their catalog. So that's it for now. Please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to keep yourselves on top of any new content I've got coming up. I'm doing more shows with Bill Schuster. He's taking a bit of a break right now, but also going to be doing more shows with Jim Bricker and Ken Cheshire pretty soon. We're working on some ideas. Okay, so again, please look after yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye for now.